Hi, Mark Orwoll is at it again. That's me. Glad to be with you. We have a New York story to end all New York stories, and you're going to love it. Stick around after this.
Let the swing begin. Mark Orwoll is at it again, and that cat is swinging. Yeah, that cat is swinging. The party don't stop when Mark's in the spin.
All right, just back in the nick of time. Had to run a quick errand there. Let's see. Oh, just a wild guess here, but Zohran Mamdani, New York's new mayor, doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would endorse equine enslavement. Mamdani often bemoans a tale of two cities, one rich, one poor. It won't be long, I suspect, before he publicly laments a different kind of tale. The ones on the horses that for decades have pulled the iconic tourist carriages through Central Park. Now that we have a stable relationship, you and I, it would behoove you to subscribe. What, you don't like horses? Yeesh. Well, anyway, this is not a sales pitch. This is a story. During a mayoral debate before Mamdani's ultimate election in November 2025, the then candidate called the carriage trade inhumane and unnecessary. But that's no certainty that the horse-drawn carts will ever be eliminated. Other mayors have tried and failed to put a stop to the rides. Mamdani's predecessor, Eric Adams, urged the city council to ban the carriages. Unfortunately, unlike our current president, New York mayors aren't allowed to rule by fiat, so the ban never took place. Former mayor Bill de Blasio tried his darndest to ban the horse-drawn hansoms when he was in office. Like many New Yorkers, he thinks the horses are undernourished, mistreated, and overworked, not unlike your typical Manhattan freelance fact-checker. So, what's stopping the city council from voting for such a bill? I guess you've never been to New York. The council has 51 members, including Republicans, Democrats, progressives, regressives, former jockeys, whirling dervishes, and at least one high school graduate. And they won't talk to one another. Good luck trying to get that group to write up a bill to ban carriages. For the record, no self-respecting New Yorker would ever be caught dead in a Central Park carriage for fear of becoming a headline in the New York Post. Brooklyn dad caught red-handed in horse opera, admits to playing tourist, expresses shame and remorse. Get your New York Post right here. But tourists love them. They're happy to shell out $150 for a 45-minute ride in one of those carriages, where they will probably propose marriage and possibly begin procreating the next generation. But if Mayor Mamdani is successful in his bid to liberate the carriage horses, he will almost certainly doom them to a one-way Metro-North ticket to the local cat food processing plant, or, as I like to think of it, a farm in upstate New York with plenty of room to run around. The point is, we need a plan. To keep the tourists coming back to the Big Apple, here are my alternatives to the Central Park horse-drawn carriages. There's a certain political poetry in shifting from horse-drawn carriages to horseless carriages. So the electric Tin Lizzie may have the upper hand in Mamdani's deliberations, but frankly, these faux antique autos, which have previously been proposed, are more suited to a ride up Disneyland's Main Street than past the Woolman ice skating rink. The upside? Environmentally sensitive. The downside? Lame. Tuk-tuks are popular in India, Thailand, and elsewhere in Asia. These three-wheeled death traps, sometimes called auto rickshaws, and often driven by carefree maniacs, are fun, sprightly, cheap, and likely fatal. Ideal for zipping past the Central Park Zoo to avoid a clogged Fifth Avenue. The immense risk of careening into a stately elm or escaped zoo penguin just adds to their charm. Upside? Colorful. Downside? Why bother when you can already get the same effect from the average New York taxi ride? Beer bar bicycles. What sort of genius comes up with such wondrous ideas? You can find these incredible contraptions in the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, and even Houston. A dozen beer drinkers face each other across a bike-mounted bar and pedal as they imbibe. A hopefully sober driver steers the bike's handlebars and stops to retrieve inebriated passengers who have fallen off. Upside, you get to drink beer as you go. The downside, Mayor Mamdani, a classy guy, is probably thinking of something more tasteful than Animal House on wheels. Depending on your personal risk tolerance, you can either thank or blame the Philippines for the modified motorcycles called hobbles. Imagine 8 to 10 passengers crammed together and delicately balanced on a 20-year-old 125cc Kawasaki with muffler issues. Now you get the picture. How do you survive a hobble ride? Pray. The upside? Getting to know your fellow riders up close and personal. The downside? Getting to know your fellow riders very up close and personal. The Schweeb monorail debuted in New Zealand, but will it work in Central Park? You have to remember that the Kiwis are adventure nuts without a shred of common sense or caution. So yeah, it'll probably be fine. Riders squeeze into plastic, coffin-like tubes hanging from a mini monorail track and pedal as they would a bicycle. Upside? No carbon footprint thanks to foot power, if that makes sense. The downside? You're on a track, so no detours are possible. Plus, claustrophobes, who, me? Will fight off a panic attack and then pass out before reaching their destination, leading to massive backups at the Bethesda fountain. Float like a butterfly. Well, skid like a really fast caterpillar, more like it, in your own personal hovercraft. Okay, they're not perfect yet, but one-man hovercraft are a reality. Just right for bounding across Central Park's sheep meadow on a lazy summer evening. The upside, the coolness factor. The downside, no brakes. Jin rickshaws, human-pulled rickshaws, are still in use in the geisha districts of Kyoto and Tokyo, but more as a tourist novelty than a practical mode of transportation. You know, sort of like, Central Park's horse-drawn carriages. Personally, I think having rickshaw pullers in Central Park is brilliant. Also, it would be a perfect side hustle for a struggling, semi-retired Substack columnist. This is my vote to replace horse carriages. And I also choose the beer bikes. We're not limited to one alternative. Do-gooders will likely balk at what they perceive as a cruel and inhumane practice. On the other hand, rickshaw pullers in Japan routinely earn $15 for a 10-minute ride, which comes out to, let's see, add the 5, carry the 1, about $1,000 an hour. Hey, where do I sign up? I'm Mark Orwoll, at it again. Come back next week and maybe I'll have an answer which one they chose. Now I've given the city council, 6 different choices? What do they want? Okay, I gotta go. I gotta run another errand. Mwah! Bye!
Let the swing begin, Mama. don't stop when Mark's in the space